TelecomTV, where ICT connects.
Hello, welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martyn Warwick and I'm reporting from the SDN and OpenFlow World Congress 2013 in Bad Homburg in Germany. It's a quiet little, elegant little spa town. And I'm talking with Dr. Diego Lopez of Telefónica I+D. And Diego, good to see you again.
Thank you. Same.
Thanks. You're the head of technology exploration at the global CTO unit with Telefónica. We've been hearing a lot over the past couple of years about SDN and NFV and what a massive impact they're going to have on the world and our industry. Are we seeing any signs of that impact yet?
Well, yes, I would say that we are. Let's say things are starting to change. Recently, we are precisely engaged in a first pilot with users in the real network in Brazil. You see a lot of initial services and initial initiatives by several operators. Some of them are announcing already services. Well, for sure, the industry, vendors, and even many new players coming to the stage, precisely looking for opportunities around that. Definitely, we're seeing the impact.
Now, we are just about exactly 1 year on from the original white paper on NFV, which was published at the same event, the SDN and OpenFlow World Congress, which was held last year in Germany, in Darmstadt. What has happened to SDN and NFV in that intervening 12-month period?
First of all, we have prepared a second version of the white paper.
Of course.
Since we are extremely faithful, we're going to announce as well in this event precisely tomorrow. And apart from that, we have gathered a amazingly big community. We are now more than 150 organizations taking part in the NFV group, and we have, in 1 year, we have gone really far in the common understanding of what we mean when we're talking about NFV and when we're talking about that virtualized network function, etc. And that has been translated into 5 documents that we are going to announce. If they are not public yet in the ETSI site, is because a matter of just the people preparing the links, and they cover what we have termed the end-to-end aspects. So we are covering use cases, we are covering requirements, we are covering an architectural framework, and we have addressed as well a first version of a terminology for having a common understanding. And the 5th document, which is something extremely important, is that we are about to start something that we're extremely interested. That is a call for proofs of concept, either in commercial events like this, or in academic conferences, or even we are aiming for making real deployments on experimental networks to demonstrate how NFV can be achieved in different scenarios and with different vendors and operators engaged.
Speaking to that then, the pilot you're undertaking in Brazil, how real is it?
As real as we are using real users, and as real as we are, somehow risking real money, because we are talking about it is not a pilot with a few chosen users in a particular corner. It's about deploying it in the middle of a real network, real operations, real users, and dealing, hopefully, with very few real complaints coming from them. So that's it's fully real. It's a full real bet on the technology, and for us, it's extremely important because it will be the demonstration that the NFV can live to the expectations we have made.
Thank you. Leading on from that, then, what about standards? How are we seeing the standards evolving? There's the ISG, the Industry Specification Group, there's ETSI, as you mentioned. What's happening there?
Well, the commitment inside the ISG is not to produce standards, but to stimulate the production of standards in some other bodies. We have started, and we have extremely promising contacts with, the most recent of the most active are BBF, TMF, ITF, ONF, and the ITUT as well. We have been feeding them with our requirements. In some cases, for example, the one who is, let's say, closer to my heart, as is the ITF, we are about to start a working group that is very much focused on one of our requirements, on composing services. There is another group that is forming on dealing with pool of functional elements. We are going to have, in a couple of weeks, a workshop with the TMF on management and operations. So I think that the NFV message has been heard loud and clear by the standards community in general, and, which is important as well, by the open source projects. We are talking about the active open source projects in the networking arena, precisely to look for the collaboration as well, so we can get support for the NFV ideas as soon as possible.
Okay, different kind of question for you now then. Look, it's obvious that virtualized functions should be located where they'll be most effective and, of course, where they'll be least expensive. What do you think is the optimal management model for NFV for the governance of the virtualized network?
Yeah, this is interesting because this is something that when you think about NFV and you think about NFV as, or you think about NFV as bringing network functions to the cloud, you tend to think that that implies a big data center and you're moving everything up there.
Yeah.
Our experience, and in fact, during this pilot, is that you have to be respectful to the shape of the network. And you cannot locate everything centralized, because we're not talking about endpoints, that you can move wherever you want. We're talking about middle points, and the middle points have to adapt to the requirements that the network imposes because of the physical reality that you will have. You have antennas, you have users at their homes, you have fibers, and you have to adapt. So what we foresee is a situation in which certain kind of functions, those much related to the control and the data analysis of the network, etc., will be highly centralized, huge data centers, taking advantage of economies of scale, etc. But there will be small or closer data centers, close to the users, closer to the network infrastructure itself, and well, taking advantage of this shape to provide better services.
Thank you. Do you think that NFV will become the biggest consumer of cloud networking and SDN services? And if so, what impact will that have?
Well, I think that if we go in the direction that the NFV promises, in a few years, a huge percentage, and probably more than half of the network will be virtualized. That would imply that we will be using the network at two levels, at least, the infrastructural level, and that would imply what currently is cloud network traffic, and the second level will be the normal traffic, the normal network traffic as perceived by the network users. That would translate, and that I would say that more than half of the traffic will be related somehow to NFV, and that would bring. I think that the important thing here is about that we will be forced when designing networks to think that we will have at least two topology layers. We are used to think about a single one, which is the one that is the network.
Sure.
And now we will have to think about the infrastructure topology and the service topology. And this will become a real change, because we will have to get used to thinking in at least two dimensions, probably more. You never know.
A final question to you then. All that's happening must surely be going to have quite a major impact on OSS. What do you think that's going to be?
Well, we are confident that will translate in simplifying current OSS. Current OSSs are really hard to deal with, hard to maintain, hard to even understand. And we hope that precisely the softwareization will bring this. A way of, let's say, normalize the whole thing, so you can understand it. We won't get rid of the real complexity, because the network is complex.
Indeed.
But at least we will have a clear, let me use the word, ontology of everything that is deployed on the network, and so you can deal with it in a structured way. And that's what I think is the main promise of NFV when it comes to operations in general and OSS in particular.
Dr. Diego Lopez, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much to you.
TelecomTV, where ICT connects.